subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to be the first to get all my latest writing tips and videos. And remember, be original. Be a writing original. Hey everybody, Adrian here. Welcome back to another episode of Real Time Writing. And shout out to all my writing originals out there. Now, this is part 4 of the Snake short story. We're going to pick it up where we left off. So, just before, it was last episode, Marvin the bully showed up. And you got Gabe and Will. And Gabe was telling a story how he stood up to Marvin. And he was in the middle of telling the story when Marvin showed up. And then Marvin's like, all right, so why don't you continue the story, Gabe? You know, what really happened? So that's where we're going to pick it up. So then, you know, Marvin shows up and then Will freaks out. And Will's like, oh yeah. And Gabe was like, yeah, don't worry. It's okay. Like, I asked Marvin to meet me here. And Will's like, what? Like, why? He's going to kill us both. And then Marvin says, continue the story, Gabe. Tell Will how I helped you get over your fear of tight, dark, and closed spaces. So we also find out that Gabe is claustrophobic. So Gabe, you know, continues the story. I put parentheticals embarrassed because the way he says this sentence is kind of like, you know, embarrassing to him. So he's like, yeah, he locked me in his tool shed in the backyard. Okay. So then Marvin kind of tells this little story real quick. So Marvin says, yeah, it was full of a variety of creepy crawlies and housed a family of rabid raccoons. Like, I threw that in there to just like, you know, because to some people, a tool shed, like, not really that scary. But, you know, you don't have a phobia of, you know, you don't have a, you know, claustrophobic, you know, fear of tight and closed spaces. But to Gabe, so that's why I threw in a little more description of how much more creepy and scary it would be being locked in there in the dark. Oh yeah, I also put there in the dark. So, so then Marvin says like, yeah, but I got the idea from the time the football team stuffed you in your locker. You screamed and cried like a little baby. And by the time the janitor showed up with all his keys to let you out, you almost pissed your pants. That was the funniest thing I ever saw. So, this happened to Gabe in the past at school. So, that's why Marvin knew that, you know, Gabe is terrified of tight and closed spaces. And plus, you can imagine it happened, like, in school when everybody watching, all the girls or the cool kids or the regular kids, like the whole school watching. He, like, you know, Gabe went through, like, a very embarrassing, you know, incident where everybody laughed at him. So that's why, like, him and Will are kind of outcasts and not popular because... And I also made a little note on the side, if you notice, like, in parentheses, just for me to know, there was a word called piss-ons. What I mean is, I'm trying to think of, like, a word to describe the social outcast groups. Like, I'm going to mention the popular group, you know, of all the cool kids and football players and cheerleaders, but I don't have a name yet for, like, the unpopular kids. Like, I'm sure you had in high school a name for the unpopular kids. So I'm trying to figure, like, the outcasts, the, you know, the I don't know, like the untouchables. But I'm going to go with piss-ons for now. And if I think of something better, then I'll go with that. So then Will replies to Marvin. He's like, no, it wasn't. Gabe was traumatized after that. He barely recovered. So now Gabe is saying like, no, I'm all better now. Marvin cured my claustrophobia. So Gabe is acting very weird. He went from avoiding, you know, Marvin, you know, ditching school, lying to his grandpa, to now being all buddy-buddy with him? Like, what's going on? So Marvin's like, he continues the story. So after a few hours of being locked up, I was going to let him out and curve stomp him to death, but I had time to think. It took a lot of guts for Gabe to come to my house and stand up to me and confront me. Nobody ever tried to stand up to me like that. I was impressed. So I decided to let Gabe live. Good so far, right? So Gabe, now in parentheticals, excited. He's very excited when he's about to say this. He's like, now we're friends. Marvin said I could walk over to the popular table where all the football players and hot cheerleaders sit, and he'll let me say hello. Now in the same dialogue paragraph, I put another parenthetical because now he says this to Marvin. He's like, can I sit down with you guys for a sec? So Marvin's like, now don't push it. Only people allowed to sit are players, hot bitches, and people who go through initiation. So let's break this down real fast. I threw you guys a curveball because when Marvin showed up, you thought like shit was about to go down. He was about to, kill these guys, but no. Turns out Gabe is friends with Marvin somehow. You didn't see that coming. So then I explained, okay, well, why are they so-called friends? Well, at least Gabe all of a sudden thinks he's friends. Well, because, after Marvin put him in the shed and he was all impressed that he tried to stand up to him, he kind of like used Gabe. Said like, yeah, whatever, I'll let you be friends, whatever. He enticed him with, like, I'll let you come over to the popular table and say hi. So, and then, Gabe takes it too far and he's like, well, can I sit down? He's like, no, you got to go through initiation. So you're going to find out that Marvin is like really just using Gabe to go through initiation for entertainment purposes. So, let's continue. Alright, so now we're going to find out about the initiation. So Will says, is that why you're here? Talking to Marvin. It's like, what are you going to make Gabe do? So Marvin's like, I haven't come up with anything yet. But what's in the box? Alright, so now remember, Will was, burying in the middle of burying that box with the kitten inside. So now Marvin, he's curious, like, what's in the box? Will's like, nothing, don't worry about it. Marvin's like, if it's nothing, then let me see. Will says, no, leave me alone. Gabe's like, just let him take a peek. No big deal, whatever. Marvin's like, I said give me the box. So Marvin grabs the box, Will holds on tight, or Will holds on. They play tug of war back and forth. Marvin wins, but accidentally drops the box on the floor. Kitten's carcass spills onto the ground. Crushed, slimy patches of hair torn out. So now you actually get to see the kitten, the aftermath of what Will saw in that crime scene, right at the beginning. So now, because Marvin was the one that started all this and, spilled, made the box drop onto the ground and the cat fall out, you kind of like are hating Marvin even more. Like you hate him already because he's the bully and what he did to Gabe and what you heard that he was doing to Gabe and Will, beating them up at school, bullying them from Grandpa Jack. But now, you gotta despise this guy. Like, he's the villain. So, let's continue. Marvin says, see what you did? So now he's blaming them. Okay. So Will yells out, no! Now you could, have a whole separate, line with Will of dialogue just saying no. But it's also okay to put it in the description. Will yells out no. Marvin, sick, almost vomits. Okay. Will falls to his knees, crying over the dead body. Gabe, shocked, slides the kitten back in the box and puts it in the open hole. So, Gabe, he's not that freaked out about it as much as, Will is. Plus, he had a connection with the cat, Rudy. So Marvin's like, what the hell is that? So Gabe explains, Rudy the Runt. To Will, now parentheticals, he talks to Will and says, find me a nice rock to put over his grave. I don't have to put Rudy the Runt again because that's repeating. I don't like to repeat myself, or I don't like to repeat stuff to the audience that they already know. So I could just cut that out and just have him say to Will, find me a nice rock to put over his grave. So Will wipes his eyes, starts searching for the perfect rock. And then Marvin says, thinning of the herd, the weak never survive, just like my coach says. I could probably cut that out, but I still want to figure out somewhere to put like that line, thinning of the herd, with the, symbolism and the theme of the story, but I just can't find a good spot to put it in. I could technically just cut that out. Yeah, I don't have to put that sentence in. So Gabe scoops the last dirt onto the mound with the tiny shovel, pats it tight. So, alright, let's move on. Alright, we're almost done. Again, I don't want to make this too long. I want to keep it fresh in your minds so you can follow along with me. So Will, searching for that rock. Will turns over a flat rock to find a 2-inch snake. Will screams hysterically and makes a run for it. Trips over a loose tree root and falls hard onto the ground. Gabe goes to check on him. Marvin scoops, what's it say? Oh, scopes out the rock, spots the tiny creature, and bursts out in laughter. So now, remember, Will's phobia is snakes. So now you actually, he finds a teeny tiny snake, a 2-inch harmless snake. But to Will, because of the phobia, it might as well be like a 15-foot anaconda. Okay, so he's freaking out. All right? But to Marvin, he's not afraid of snakes, so he doesn't care. He laughs when he sees something so tiny. So Marvin laughs in parentheticals. He's like, how can you be afraid of something so small? It's not even bigger than my pinky. So, now I put in there because this line is just so funny and genius, but I got to figure out where I want to put it, to make it perfect. So, Will replies to Marvin. He's like, I bet it's bigger than your dick. So that, is hilarious. And that's what, triggers Marvin. Really pisses him off. But I'm not sure if I want to put it a little bit after, right before, I don't know. Where, the placing is the best. So Gabe says, he has a phobia of snakes. So Marvin's like, really? How about I help him get over his fear like I helped you? So Marvin marches toward Will with the harmless tiny snake. Will yells, no, keep it away from me! Alright, so now Will scrambles to get up, but can't. Marvin to Gabe, in parentheticals, he says this to Gabe. He's like, hold him. Just thought of your initiation. Getting interesting now. So Gabe follows orders and holds Will down. So Will says, Gabe, what are you doing? Let me go now. So I cut this stuff out. I don't have to say all this. So I cut the next two lines out. I could just get more to the point. And Marvin hands Gabe the snake, then holds Will in a bear hug. He's trapped. So now Will, he's done for. You got Big Marvin, the linebacker holding him tight. He can't move. He's trapped. But now Gabe has the snake. So what does Marvin want him to do with the damn snake? All right? Gabe says, so what do you want me to do? And that's where we're going to end it today, and we're going to continue this story tomorrow. I know, I'm sorry, guys, just when it was getting this great, but always leave them wanting more. You got to follow me for the next episode. So I hope you enjoyed it so far. Until next time, thanks so much. Thanks everyone for watching. Please like, share this video, hit me up on Facebook and Twitter, comment down below. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell. And also don't forget to check out my other videos. And until next time, remember my motto, where story comes first.